Hi, welcome back or welcome to the Cables, Lace, and Tails podcast. My name is Sue and I am a maker from northwestern Wisconsin. We are having our spring break this week, so we have the whole week off from school and my daughter is sick. She actually had a fever yesterday, so at least she's not missing any school. I will be talking a little bit about some admin things I'm going to do at the end of the episode, but let's just dive right in and get to my first and only finished object. I have not one, but two finished socks. I have not blocked them. I don't think I will. I have never blocked my socks. That might be a mistake. I don't know. They're rainbow. They're lovely. They fit. They are not like one another, as you can see. I don't really care if they are symmetrical. I just use the ball as is. And you know, sometimes you want to put on the sock that you were wearing on your excuse me, on your left foot and not your right foot, so it fits, because you already wore them and you just took them off briefly, and then, you know, at least that's what I like to do. I like to wear the sock that was on my foot in the first place. So what can I say? These are my vanilla sock pattern. I'll just hold one. I use a 3x1 rib, so knit 3, 1 purl rib. I used my Ann Buds sock pattern. I really like this style of heel where you slip a stitch. It's really durable. I always add a second strand of yarn just for the heel, just for this area, for the turn heel. I really wear out my heels quickly, and I find that this saves me from a lot of mending. So I got that. This is using the discontinued Lion brand Mani Petty yarn. I'm not a real fan of it anymore after using Patton's yarn. That's the foot. And then I did my decreases. As you can see, it goes to a point, but it doesn't sit on your foot like a point. It's a very basic sock pattern. I really enjoy it. I like ticking off the sections. At the end, you have 8 remaining stitches, and then you graft them together using the Kitchener stitch. I don't know why, but every single time halfway through I drop a stitch or I mess up somehow, and one of them, I think it's this one, I actually did so bad there was a hole. You can't really see because it's dark. There was actually like a hole right at the tip. So I just cut the yarn tail a little longer and just wove it through multiple times, closing it up. I put it on my foot. You can't even tell. You can't feel it, so it's fine. So I weaved in all the ends because I have, you know, 2 ends down here for the extra yarn, and then, you know, the one up here. And I can't wait to wear them. Although now the weather is starting to turn to spring, but it's March, so we might get another snowstorm. Who knows? But I got another pair under my belt, and as soon as I change needles for the black socks to the US size 2, right now I'm using a US size 2.5. Once I get a certain way down the cuff, I don't remember how long, once I get a certain way down the cuff, then I switch to the US 2 and do the rest of the sock. Once I get that done, I will then cast on a new pair of socks for myself. See? Leapfrog. That is going to play a key role in this podcast. Leapfrogging. So, my one and done finished object. I'm really happy. I do have naughty cats. They have already stolen one of my gauge swatches. They've tried to steal another gauge swatch. So I'm just going to be like watching because they were really naughty. Anyway, so now I'm going to go on. I'm looking at my notes here. And I'm going to talk about, well, hello, Tallulah, my cardigan I'm making from the Leisure Arts. Let's see. Oh, I don't want too much glare. I don't know if you can still get this book. Maybe on eBay, thrift books. Um, I don't know if Amazon would have it. It is called the Shaped Cardigan. It has a nice small lace detail. I'm just going to show the picture of the front. And this lace detail that you can see on the front is also on the back. It's a very simple 10 stitch lace repeat. And I am making mine out of the soon to be discontinued Joann's Big Twist Cotton Poly. And it is, I was going to show you that tank top. I thought about it and I know where it is. I made a tank top out of the same yarn. And after washing it, you know, a handful of times, it started losing some of the color and it looks more cohesive. Because right now you can see lots of, would it be called striations? Which is fine. Kind of. And I'm on my second ball of yarn. The lace detail is in the front, or I mean in the middle of the back here. I was thinking in front of me. I have to measure this, which I haven't done. I kind of did, but I didn't like the way my dog was right next to me and I was using part of the cushion of the couch. And when I was measuring, I got 13 inches and 14 and a half. So I got to do a better job at measuring. It goes to about, I want to say 15. Not really 100% sure. I'm debating if I make it a little longer, then I'd have to make it longer for everything. And then the reason why I say that is because I could do a full 8-row repeat. And then I could just start on the arm shapings. Or do I go to what the pattern says and put a lifeline, which I did put a lifeline in. You can't really see, where is it? The string is here, but you can see it because I accidentally went through my stitch markers. See? Ooh, I caught the stitch marker. It's no big deal. I can just pull it out and the stitch markers will be fine. I didn't knit into them. So, how can I put it? Where was I? 3 things. I put a lifeline in at the end of row 8, so I know where I am on that. I made a note of that. If I decide to do a full repeat, I'll put another lifeline at that repeat where I'm beginning the armhole shaping. However, if I decide not to do a full repeat, I will put a lifeline in where I start the underarm shaping, and then I will make a note in my notes, lifeline at row whatever before arm or whatever, arm shaping. So I have changed my stitch markers to the little clips, because if I do put another lifeline in, which I will, I don't want to accidentally forget to not slip this with the, so I tie the, okay, repeat, slow down. Okay. On interchangeable needles, you have a little place where you put the key in your can you see? Right there, there's a hole right there. And you can put yarn or string, depending on how big the hole is. I just use some crochet thread that I had left over, and I just put it in there, and then I just knit across, and then your lifeline is in the right spot all the way across, because I have done it before with a needle and the thread, and sometimes I miss a stitch, or I put it in through the yarn itself and then it's all messed up, and that's why I had to tear out my other lace cardigan from last summer, because I put in lifelines so haphazardly. When I was, this is 2 more repeats from where the stitch markers down here are. So 2 stitch repeats, pattern repeats. I'm rewinding. It sounded so much better when I was on my walk thinking about all of this stuff. All right, so I did 2 more pattern repeats from this stitch marker down here. Somehow in this second pattern repeat, at one point I messed up with the transferring of my pinnable stitch markers, and I had an extra stitch. But thankfully, I kept this here because then I knew exactly where my pattern repeat was going to sit. Because it's really important when you keep your stitches correct during that pattern repeat. Otherwise, one off kind of just, makes everything askew. So, it is coming along. I am starting to receive some hand pain working with this. I don't understand why natural fibers do that. I thought I was different than everybody else. Like, oh, please. That can't be true. Why would that be true? I don't know why. Making dishcloths is not as bad, but maybe it's because it's a smaller item, or I don't work on them as long. I don't know. But I have taken a break. I didn't work on this yesterday, so I'm just taking a break. I have done a total of 3 pattern repeats since last week at this time. There's my stitch marker down there. You can kind of see it as that peach thing. Below the little circles. And then, so, yeah. So that's, 24 rows. I am going to move my stitch marker now and see where I end up next week. I really like this pattern. In fact, I was thinking while on my walk, I wonder what this would be like using wool yarn. So it's a possibility. Possibilities are endless. It doesn't really require any type of yarn. It doesn't have any parameters other than worsted, and this is your gauge swatch, which I believe was 18 stitches for 4 inches. Hold on, let me just double check. I was right. 18 stitches for 4 inches. So that's that. My cat is rubbing my camera. Oh, she has been something else, let me tell ya. Oh, Tululu. No, thank you. Okay, so I'm working. The 4 squares I do believe are helping. These are the Knit Pick 4 square needles. They do help, but even so, natural fibers cause arm or hand fatigue. I do know that massaging, for me, this muscle right here, as well as like your forearm, really does help alleviate that fatigue. But it's always good to take a break and work on something else, because I do have a lot of works in progress. So I already talked about the socks. I'm not going to show you the black pair because they're just in the ribbing part and it's, not that exciting. So, all right, my Lopi sweater. I am still working on my sleeves. I have, I got to a certain point with the first sleeve. And then I said to myself, we're going to stop here. I'm going to change over to the larger needles. I believe, I don't know if this is the one. I think it is. So I have sized up. I'm using Clover double pointed needles. I got these like for $3 at Michael's 4 years ago, during the time that everything just started opening up again and they were getting rid of their stock. These are normally like, I think we'll say $10 to $15, depending on who you buy them from. They're working. I wish they were just a touch longer because I tend to lose some of my stitches, but thankfully it's Lopi yarn. This is the first one. So I had 7 repeats right here, and then I went up a little bit. Last night on my second sleeve, I just finished the 7th repeat, so I still have some work to do to get to this point. I am going to measure this one, look at the pattern, figure out if I need to knit a couple more rounds or if I'm good, and then start the color work. I sized up a needle size to do the color work, and that's that. I'm going to show you the second one. This is the second one. So as you can see, I still have probably about 2 more inches to knit, and then I really do like the double pointed needles, so it was a lot. I did this one different than the first one. So you mark the back of your sleeve, okay, the middle of your back sleeve, and then you need to get at least 15 stitches for my size on each needle, so that would be 60. But when I started it, I put my first one, I put 15 stitches on the back too. I was like, cool, I'll just transfer stitches as I go over, and that did not work as I intended. So the second, because it just was really awkward, and it just was really awkward. So the beginning of the round is like over here instead of in the middle. I mean, it's fine, but it's still the middle of the back sleeve. It's just where it sat and made sense to me. So I decided about halfway through that I would get 15 stitches on each of the 3 other needles, and then I think I was at 6 stitches here. No, it had to be 7, like 7 stitches here, because it has to be an odd number. Okay, so then I could just keep this as is and then just work. It's coming along. I'll put it on. So let's see, there. It's at my elbow right at this moment, and I think I kind of want it to be down here, so it can go over my gloves and create like a nice warm aspect. My fingers do get really, really cold in the winter due to my being a smoker when I was a young child. I smoked for 10 years, from the time I was 16 to the time I was 26. And I quit when the prices went up to $3.35 a package. Could not imagine spending anywhere from $7 to $10 on one pack of cigarettes. Anyway, so it's coming along. I haven't really worked on the color work part because I've been working on the sleeves, and it's kind of nice to like change up my needle size. So I'm working with small, medium, and large. And that's that. So far my cat has been really good. My other cat is sleeping because she stole my gauge swatch, and I growled at her in cat language because they were tearing it apart. Okay. I'm going to talk about 2 more of my projects before I get into my coworker's blanket and then future things. I have been working on my Sari Norlund scarf. I was going to look up on how to pronounce it because it's Greek. And okay, so there's my little stitch marker where I was. So I've worked about 2 inches. The decreases are giving me a little bit of uncertainty because it shows that you decrease, but then it doesn't show. I don't know if I'm reading the pattern wrong, the chart wrong. So I'm kind of just free flowing it. I'm thinking, all right, I'm looking at my pattern, and you have, these are knits, and then you got 2 purls. But when you're starting to decrease, I just kind of look and say, all right, I'm just going to purl this one where it looks like it's going to match the pattern the best. Purl 2 together, and then I'm decreasing correctly. I just don't know if I'm decreasing in the right spot. I think I am. Anyway, it's a scarf, and it's for me, so it's not, like I'm making this for anybody else. So it's coming along. You can see the point here. It's very little, and now I'm going to make the other side to here. That has been a lot of fun. I really enjoy this pattern. I'm really starting to memorize the pattern, so I don't even have to look at like going back, except for in the where am I? Except for right here, right when I start purling back or working the wrong side row, I just kind of look at what I'm doing here. Otherwise, it's just following the pattern all the way across. So I want to get this done. I know it won't be done for this cold season, but it'll be ready for fall for sure. So I will show you the picture that I'm doing. It's from the Sari Norlund's book, Softly. It is a lovely pattern. I am learning so much. So, oops, I dropped something. This is what it's going to look like, and there she is wearing it. And yeah, so that's that. Let's see here. I'm going to put that down. All right. I am making the Finley out of my Only Yoking book. Before I show it, I'm going to show something here. When I'm working a chart, a Colorwork chart, that seems really difficult for me to understand for whatever reason. Last night I worked on 2 rounds last night, and the second round was so hard. I was like, just by the way everything is going, I was getting really confused of where I was in my knitting. But I will do this. That is the row I'm working on. So I only see that row. But last night, the way that the pattern was working, I'm going to show you this. Dropping everything. I was somewhere in here, and there's a lot of color changing aspects, and it wasn't really matching up to what I thought versus what it was. So I was getting confused, and I was like, oh boy. And then I had the idea of marking my pattern and leapfrogging the markers. See, leapfrogging. A little bit of spring humor. I have to be careful with this stuff because my cat is very naughty lately. So I am using, I forgot to mention, the Sari Norlund scarf is also using the same kind of yarn, but this is in the Sari Norlund's in the color Oyster. This is Knit Picks Upcycle Alpaca Blend. Was on their website just the other day, as one does peruse, and they have brought back their worsted size. However, there are like 32 reviews, and a lot of the negative 1-star reviews are, it is not worsted weight, it is sport weight. I have sport weight, so I guess the sport weight and the worsted weight are very similar, except in yardage. You get more yardage with the sport weight, and that is why I went with the sport weight. I figured if I had enough, I could always double them up and make, a worsted weight yarn or whatnot. I am using, for my main color, Sapphire, and my change color is called Sea Glass. It is coming along. I really like it. Let's see here. This is the back. Yeah. See, it's coming along. I like the contrast. That is very striking. So over here, I'm just going to show. This is a pattern repeat right here, and then the following repeat. So I was getting really really, I was getting confused. I was looking at my knitting and I was trying to follow the pattern, and it just, since the first round I did was quite easy. I didn't need to leapfrog my stitch markers, but I increased 2 stitches per repeat, and they were done in the blue. So that meant that everything was kind of off. I mean, it's correct, but it's off in my mind because, I like to follow the pattern, and the pattern is now changing, and that was the first start of the pattern change, and the second one was to establish the next pattern. And I was just getting super confused, and I kept on counting, and I'm like, okay, and then I would do it, and then I'm like, wait a second, did I do that right? And then I would have to count all the way back to the beginning. So say like I was over, say like I was over here, and I would be like, say in this area, and I'd be like, wait, did I do that right? And then I had to go bing, 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 and then I'd be like, wait, did I do that right? Bing, bing, bing. Wait, did I? So I thought, hey, I'm gonna put a marker where I was correct. I am correct up to this point, period. And then I did a pattern repeat and put another marker after double checking. I double checked every section because it doesn't pay to do something wrong and then have to think back on one of these things. So I did that. And then I would, this is correct? Okay, cool. And then I put a stitch marker. Boop. And then I put a stitch marker. And I would just leapfrog and double check. And it turned out pretty good. After I was done with that row, I was done. I was like, you're going to go to bed now because I'm done with you. But is all color work like that, where you just kind of get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm going to put you down until I can come back to you in a fresh state of mind. I went and did the dishes, but it's turning out really neat. I mean, I love the contrast. It is so pretty. So I am working steadily on that. I did put a stitch marker. I did about an inch worth of work, well, about an inch. So I'm going to move it right now to keep myself honest, to keep myself going, to keep me on track. I should be wearing my glasses because I can't see close up. I recently went to the eye doctor last November, and I have really good vision distance wise, but not so up close. So the eye doctor told me that I could keep my cheap old readers that I got from Walmart. And I do like them because they sit on my nose and they don't hurt the bridge here because I got my nose broken. Uh-oh. I have a thief among me. She wants what I don't want her to have. Okay, so I'm working on that. I'm keeping the leapfrogging progress because it just might help me keep track of everything I need to keep track of. So, okay, I have some ideas. I mentioned that I was going to do a gauge swatch of my Dolce, and I needed to count my stitches because it wasn't a fully dried piece. I'll just hold it right there. So this is Wool of the Andes Shire, and the worsted weight. I want to make the vegetable patch sweater. I think it really reminds me of forest moss, like deep forest moss, not the light stuff, the really dark stuff. I just measured this and I'm getting too few stitches. So that means I need to size down You can't see her, but she's right here. She's right on the, just beyond. Anyway, they just stole this. The two cats stole this and started destroying it right down here. They were biting it because it smells like, sheep. So I always get confused. I have too few stitches, so I need to size down so I can get more stitches because you needed 25 stitches in the pattern repeat, and I'm getting 20 in using US size 8. So I'm like, do I keep this swatch or do I take it apart? I have already blocked it. I'm kind of disappointed. And then I'm thinking, well, maybe it'll be more defined if I go down a needle size. Do I have to go down 2 needle sizes? So now I'm going to have to think about that. And I'm going to have to, practice that pattern again. And maybe I'll just make it into like, well, you kind of have to have it in it too. Good thing I bought extra yarn. I had bought 24 skeins and I needed about 21 skeins. So I have enough yarn to make another swatch. So I think I'll do it like, I'll do half in size 7 and then half in size 6. Or maybe I will do it in 7. Would that be enough though? I mean, I need to decrease a whole 5 stitches, and 5 stitches is an inch with the US 8. Decisions need to be made and practice needs to be done, and I need to hide this from my cat, who is hiding behind me right now. I'll put it right there for now. So there is some contemplation. That's why I have not started that sweater yet. I did only make a tiny little swatch because I only have so much of this yarn. I only have 10 skeins of this yarn, and each skein is 175 yards for 50 grams. It's the Dolce from Barocco. It's very beautiful. I did wet block this in plain water. I just put it in a little tub and let it soak for about a half hour, dried it. I put stitch markers. I did not stretch it at all. I just put stitch markers, blocking markers, whatever you want to call them, so it wouldn't like curl up on itself, because it is essentially stockinette. It is really pretty, but it has changed a little bit just because you don't see all the different colors. It became more muted, which is nice. This is a mixture of cotton is the most, and then it has do I have the thing? I moved it. It has cotton, wool, alpaca, and nylon. I do not know the amounts. I started a sweater. I see that I'm going to have to be really careful. This yarn is very floofy and it likes to stick to itself. Can you tell? It's going to hold it. It's very, very floofy. Very, very floofy. So I casted this on using a US size 7 because I wanted the bottom to be a little extra stretchy, but I sized down for the ribbing to a US size 5. I'm using my Knitter's Pride Zings, which have a blunted tip. It's okay. For this yarn, it's okay. I had to redo my whole, I started casting on. I casted on the right amount of stitches. I started doing the 1x1 rib. I've decided I'm doing a 1x1 rib. I'm using my Ann Bud's Knitter's Handy book of sweater patterns. I'm doing a drop shoulder V-neck cardigan. I decided that when I was looking at the waist, I thought, and I was thinking about this sweater. I used this sweater. It's a set-in sleeve though. It's a set-in sleeve. The sleeve starts here. From the same book. So I was thinking about this sweater for this sweater, and I thought, in this sweater I did a size 42, or 36, 38, the 4 size. I did the 4 size, and I have done the 5th size, which is a 44, and I have done the 6th size, which is a 46. The 6th size is massively too big. The 44, I think, was also a large sweater. And maybe I ripped it out and went down to a size 42, because I looked back at my notes and every sweater I made since then was a 42. Now, I will say this is a 42, and up here it's fine. You know, I'm a 42-inch bust. It gives me the right amount of positive ease, not too much, not too little. I did do my sleeves really wide, so that's why it's like this. I did that on purpose, but I'm not going to stand up. But at the bottom, the last little bit of my sweater doesn't do this. It does this. And I don't want that for this sweater. I would like for this sweater to be able to be buttoned. I do want to put a button band on. I haven't decided if I'm going to do double knitting, which I've never done, or am I just going to do a 1x1 rib with some, little buttons. That can be decided upon as I knit this. So my thought was, I wrote it down because I changed my mind again, The thing about Ann Bud is that you can mix and match sizes. So I thought to myself, well, if I don't want a size 42 completely, and I don't want to go up to a size 44 completely, can't I just combine the 2 sizes? Because it's cardigan, so I'll have a 43. So I decided to do the back panel size 44. And then I will do the 2 front panels size 42 inches. And then I'm going to do the sleeves, because I know from my other patterns that I like this is a size 40 sleeve, because I'm not that big, height wise. And then this fits me really nice. So I'm going to do a 44 in the back, 42 in the front, and the 40 in the sleeves. I'll just follow the pattern for that. The thing about drop shoulders is that it's basically, you go up, you mark the under, like where the sleeve is going to begin, and then you go up, mark the other part, do shoulder shaping, and you're done. The front will be a little bit more, because instead of doing a crew neck, I'm doing a V-neck, so I'll just have to pay attention more at that point. It's no big deal. I've done it before. I've written notes about what I did for my V-neck sweater. So that is that. Hopefully it goes well. I might have to transfer this into a larger bag so it doesn't get all tangled with each other, but I do know that I will only have one skein working at a time with how it connects. Now you see this tiny little ball. This was my first, I cast it on. I know a lot of people, I just saw a video that people don't like when you use casted, whatever. I cast it on, and I was working my first row of 1x1 rib, and there was a large knot in the yarn. So we'll see how many knots this yarn actually has, but there was no way for me to cut the yarn and continue working on the first round of ribbing. It was easier to cut my losses and start over. And the cats really love this yarn. So I'm going to hide that from them as much as possible because they're saucy. The size 7 that I'm going to use for this pattern that I did get gauge with, which was 5 stitches per inch or 20 stitches for 4 inches. These books, they go by 1 inch. So they, I'll show you. So I needed to have at least, I'll show you on the child. Yeah. Okay. I don't know what pattern this is, but it doesn't really matter. Right here, they have the gauge, right? And so they have 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So, 3 would be bulky, 7 would be fingering, and then, the others in between. So I got 5 stitches per inch using my Knit Picks. I don't remember what the name of the brand is. It was a free Try Me kit. I really like them. So I sized up to a size 40-inch cable, and I plan to do about 1.5 inches. I'll see where I am at 1 inch, how it looks of ribbing, but either 1 inch to 1.5 inches of ribbing on the bottom, which I'm going to match with the cuff. This is 1 inch, which is fingering weight. You can kind of see the difference between the two, but it's only 1 inch, and I really like it. However, for this cardigan that I'm making out of the Dolce Barocco Dolce, I wanted to resemble a sweater I had years ago, and I thought it was a circular yoke sweater, but it wasn't. I haven't found it in my wherever I put it in my storage bin, but I know what it looked like in my mind's eye, and I was Googling circular V-neck circular yoke cardigans images, and up popped this one sweater. I'm like, oh my god, that's it. But it wasn't a circular yoke, it was a drop shoulder. So I decided, all right, I'm going to do a drop shoulder, which is even easier. Knock on wood. So I'm doing a drop shoulder V-neck cardigan, and then we'll see how it goes, because now I really wanted to cast this on because I wanted something just like this was, back and forth, and it's going to take a while to get to, say, I don't remember, like 14 inches or 15 inches or whatever it is in the back. I have to go that much, and then so that's that. I showed you my other 2 gauge swatches. All right, so little notes. I set up a little crochet and knit get together at my work. 2 coworkers showed up. They both kind of know how to crochet, and we just worked on crochet, and I just helped them learn. One lady's like, oh, I forgot all my stuff, and I'm like, that's okay, I brought extra. So she got to practice. I gave her that little tiny ball of yarn. It was, just extra from some project, and she worked on it. She did really well, and the other lady has some arthritis in her hand, so she had a little bit more difficulty. Uh-oh. I have an intruder. But I mentioned this before, that my coworker wanted me to make a blanket for her son. She bought the yarn. It's Loops and Threads from Michaels. It is acrylic and polyamide. I mean, when you look at it here, it's like, kind of blah, right? It just doesn't show the best of this. Now, this is a machine washable, but you cannot dry it. I think I'll tell her to put it in the dryer on like no heat, just to fluff it a little bit for like 5 minutes, just to fluff it, and then dry it flat. Let's see here. So my thoughts. She originally wanted like a 36 by 40 blanket, but since I didn't know how much, so it's 315. So 945 yards is all I have to work with. And crochet can eat yarn. I'm just going to hold it. It's really turning pretty. I don't know if it's really showing the color as well as when like the sunlight hits it. This blue looks like a robin's egg. It's so pretty. So so you can see here where I joined my skein. Actually, I joined it the row below it, but I was like, sometimes I bring up the yarn as I'm knitting, or as I crochet, just to lock it in, and then I can weave it in back. So my thought was, I'm going to leave that there, and I know where to count after I get done with the second skein. And that, from that moment of where that ends, I'll count all the rows of double crochet, divide those in half, and then do that many for the last skein, or to match the 40 inches, whatever comes first. And then do a border of single crochet, very simple, all the way around it. He likes that. I have made him a small little blanket, and he really likes it. So yeah, it's coming along. Would I like to have this done by the time we get back from spring break? I sure would. Right now this is 34 inches across and probably 20 inches high. So about halfway done. My cat Tallulah, the calico who always shows up in my videos, I had the yarn, sitting next to me. I've gone about a third of a way through this skein so far. But she picked it up and tried to, walk off with it because she's sassy. Right now my cats are running around and playing with each other. They're not used to us being home. They're kind of like, what are you guys doing here? This is not normal. Why aren't you at school? Well, I'm glad to have spring break. I always am. You get tired and all the kids need a break, and so do you, and people go on trips and whatever. But I haven't had the best spring break so far. Not because my daughter got sick. Nope, that just happens. But there are other reasons. Anywho, so, yes. Okay. I started following the Thoughtful Artisan on, Instagram recently. I have liked their quotes in the past. They are from Canada. I don't remember where in Canada. Anyway, they have this quote from Dr. Anne Kirketerp. 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 Okay, I'm just going to call her Dr. Anne. Okay, Dr. Anne said, having multiple craft projects in progress is better for your well-being. She claims that having a range of projects to choose from gives you freedom to select one that matches your energy level, and that promotes a better flow state. She recommends 5 to 10 projects, but I have close to 15 to 20 at all given times. So, yeah. I'm glad that's, I thought sometimes like some people are really adamant, oh, I can't have more than 3. Otherwise, and I'm like, well, why can't you? And also, why not? And for me, sometimes I don't want to work in the round. I don't want to work on double pointed needles. I just want to go back and forth in plain old stockinette. Or sometimes I want to be really challenged by colorwork or a cable pattern. Or sometimes I just, want to sit down and do an easy crochet project. Boom, boom. I will say, I have put my crochet off to the side for a number of years because I was doing those crochet scrubbies for the gun cleaner that I worked for, and I really kind of burnt out on crochet. I have had things I have done with crochet, but I want to make garments more right now instead of like blankets or, you know, toys or whatnot. I did buy, let's see if I can get it. I did buy this book on a whim. I saw someone talking about it. I don't even remember who. And I was like, what? Modern crochet sweaters? And it was a really good price. And so I've been looking at this over and over and over and over. And I thought to myself, well, I haven't crocheted hardly at all. I really need to get, like, I really want to make this. Isn't that cute? Another cardigan. I have realized since making this that I really need more cardigans in my life because of those days that it's chilly, but you don't want to wear a big, huge sweater. I do have the yarn for this one pattern. My daughter also wants this one, so I might make it for her first, depending on if she likes the yarn. So I thought, well, this coworker blanket is helping me get back into the groove of my stitches for crochet. So I'm very thankful for that, and I hope she likes it. I know she will. I hope her son likes it. He's the hard customer. And I hope to get it done. I have, about 5 more days left of break. So today is Tuesday. I have decided, that brings me into some admin, I have decided to make a regularly scheduled channel, a regularly scheduled video for my channel. So I have learned from some other YouTubers, and now you can't believe what all these helpful YouTubers say about getting more views, because I actually did one thing and it actually decreased my views quite a bit. The person said, click off notifying subscribers of your new video because you're limiting yourself. So I did that, and I have limited myself because even my regular people haven't even been able to watch it. I only have 9 subscribers. It's not like I have, 50 people watching my videos. But why limit myself? So I decided that I can't always guarantee the day I can record. The past 2 weeks I could do it on a Tuesday. Sometimes I can do it Wednesday. Sometimes I can only do it Thursday afternoon. I like to do it after I get done with work, as I have a nice break between me getting home and my daughter getting home. One time I did record on a Friday morning, but I felt really rushed, and I don't like doing things in a rush state. I mean, I can move quickly and do things fast, but I don't want anyone to feel that energy of like me rushing through what I want to show you. So I thought, okay, I'm going to either record on my 3 normal days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then give YouTube time and myself some time. And maybe during that time, as I get better at this, I will learn how to edit. Right now I'm doing like free Canva for my thumbnails. Maybe it would be wise to pay Canva so I can do editing in that. However, my big problem, and I don't know what I did, because it worked at first, but after that initial video, something I did to my phone and computer, I can't upload my video. How can I say this? So I have a Pixel and I have a Chromebook. They should just match. And I have the cloud, and it does match on most things. I don't know why it takes longer for things to show up or whatever. So I have even waited on my video showing up, but whenever I try to upload it from there, it fails. So I can upload on my phone to YouTube and it succeeds. Fine. So until I figured all that out, I'm just not even editing my videos. I wish I could say, and go like this and this pattern right here, and then put the pattern, because I love seeing other podcasters when they say, I want to make this sweater, and then they show a picture of it, and it's like, oh yeah, I can see that. So that's a future goal. However, having a regularly scheduled day, and I'm debating if it's going to be Saturday morning or Sunday morning. And I keep going back and forth, but whatever I choose is what it's going to be. So it'll either be Saturday or Sunday mornings. I'm thinking I'm going to have it for 8 o'clock in the morning, because people like to sleep in. And I love Saturday mornings. I get up. Everyone, like this past Saturday morning was awesome. It was awesome. Everyone was asleep except for me and my cats and my dog, and then I fed them, and then they were asleep, and I ate, and then I watched my podcasters I like to watch, and I was like, ooh, I like that idea, and it gets you to thinking. So yeah, I'll be posting either Saturday or Sunday. So until then, I will hope that you have a really good time. Enjoy the sunshine or the rain, whatever is needed. We have sunshine right now, but we do need rain. We really do. We have been kind of in a drought for a number of years, just dry winters and dry summers, and that's not good for the farmers. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you had fun. I hope to see you again soon, and take care and have fun. Bye for now.